Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of news or updates usually I go about on Twitter X platform, especially when I do live stream. This couple of days, and I predict till at least the end of the week, I'll be quite busy. I might miss 1 or 2 days regarding anything there, and I'm trying to manage my active gameplay series. I still need to completely forgot to put this on the completed gameplay series, the Dead Space remake. I've been quite busy, more than expected. Everything, at least my intention on planning on my usual schedule is up in the air. Given the fact that I don't have a fixed working schedule, by the fact that I'm a freelancer, sometimes these things might happen, and I predict at least until the end of this week that I might be a little bit on and off depending on the workload that I get. Other than that, everything is on par with my planning, including the gaming news program, sorry, and also my gameplay series there. Regarding the live stream stuff, I still plan to do everything, but then again, it's a matter of trying to schedule things around my non non-fixed working schedule that I have at this moment. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff here, other than that, everything seems to be on par. See if I can in a short period of time, probably next week or around that, to bring up my new gameplay series, which should be Midnight Suns, and try to wrap up and finish up the Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and again continuing my new game plus on Elden Ring, which is already wrapped up. Other than that, everything is at least as according to the plan. The schedule this week is being difficult to implement given the workload that I've been having. So let's go to the news. Similarly, again, I'm part to this 84% of PC users unwilling to pay extra for AI enhancements hardware. Again, I didn't take the survey there, but or the poll. Again, it doesn't make sense. This company is trying to. It's not. How do I put it? People are not didn't were not asking for this. Consumers. They were not asking for this. This is kind of being trying to be shoved down our throats to a certain degree, that it is good for us, and now you need to pay extra, because this kind of new technologies, as they are implemented as any kind of technology, usually you have to pay the extra dollar for it, because it's an investment they are doing from their part, and then they have to recoup that investment for sales, and usually they bring up the products that they cost a little bit extra regarding that. But people are the majority, not all, but the majority, especially high-end users, don't see any kind of advantage, at least so far. And I think it's a little bit, we have to blame a little bit the companies there, how they are trying to sell you the AI stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with, especially in games and in other little things there, the supposedly ease of use, which is I don't know, art thing, like images, to a certain degree dialogue, or not dialogue, the written word, like written stuff, and to a certain extent also in case of gaming, they're trying to get the idea of scrap like voice actors and such in the industry to a certain degree, of course, at this moment in time, because the technology is not up there. And people see this as that, like trying to replace. It's not an additive. Is to a certain degree, what they are trying to do is replacement. And the fact that they want to replace is just a matter of the bottom dollar for them. so they can save money on the investment they are doing, which is, for example, if you don't have to pay an artist for an image or for whatever it is, if you don't have to pay for somebody to do a work, whatever it is, any kind of work, if you can cut down that with some AI features or so with AI stuff, it's not adding up to the things that we already have. It's basically trying to replace things in the overall scheme of things. I'm not trying to get anything like very specific, but yeah, that's what people are seeing here, the use of AI. That's why the people are not it's not falling for it. They don't want that, because what people are satisfied, let's say, in the case of gaming, they are pretty satisfied with what they have. They think, for example, AI is because it's not even AI. I think that they should have done a different naming thing, because when people think about AI, or when you mention AI, it's not AI. It's basically machine learning. Let's say, for example, the NVIDIA upscaling algorithm. It's an algorithm that it's fine-tuned depending on each case used, but it's not AI. It's not an artificial intelligence, because it's not. It's code. It's algorithm. What it does with that algorithm, it manages to accelerate certain workloads, because it's adaptable. It can adapt to certain workloads that so it's got some certain independence. It's not if or kind of a workload stuff there. It's pretty adaptable. That's why these companies to a certain degree shoot themselves in the foot by calling this AI. In the example of again, the most with the most visibility is this upscaling technology from NVIDIA. The other upscalers also use to a certain degree machine learning, even though they take a different approach. But yeah, I think they should be calling. I prefer to call it machine learning or algorithm, even though algorithm already has some heavy meanings. Mainly because, for example, when you talk about algorithm, people usually are drawn upon, for example, search algorithms, and when this comes up to mind, for example, in YouTube or any social media, or even in search engines, people already thinking that it's discriminates a little bit, because it has some biases associated by that, because for you to program an algorithm, you're to a certain extent you're inputting your own biases of at least from what you think is most important for that algorithm to search for, or to make priority of whatever it needs to be doing. But yeah, I think machine learning is some kind of, let's say, in terms of language, more neutral term, because it's something that people can associate. I think they should have started this with machine learning. For example, the upscaling, it's not AI. A lot of stuff that they are bringing up as AI, it's not AI. And people are afraid to a certain degree AI, because, again, people see AI as a replacement of something that already exists. It's not something that it's adding on. I think they should have, and I'm not sure how much they can kind of course correct on this narrative of AI and machine learning, because it's more about this. It's more about machine learning, and the fact even the hardware itself, how it processes the information, they are basically um, the hardware itself is more tuned, let's say, for taking this kind of workloads. The same way that CPU and GPU are fine-tuned to certain kind of workloads. Usually, GPU is more for parallel workloads, so deal with a lot of information and work that information in a parallel term, instead of like a CPU, it does one task at a time. So that's why usually you see a lot of uplifting in terms of what we call the IPCs, instruction support cycle. So it's the workload is done by cycling, while GPU is done by a parallel workload. So a lot of information at the same time. That's why you usually can present in terms of image on the screen. It's better when you have a discrete GPU than a CPU, because the CPU needs to do one cycle to do a specific work, and that will for images purposes, it's way more difficult to achieve than, for example, a GPU, which just deal with a lot of information to put on the screen at the same time, with a lot of calculations that need to be done. In the case of games, that's why gaming it's better suited with a discrete GPU, and that's why when CPUs or in this case APUs have some graphic engines there, they perform better than a normal CPU. But yeah, I think it's the AI features. This has been botched from the beginning. I think they should have started at least with machine learning. We saw that for a moment that they were trying to conflate machine learning and AI, and they decided to go just AI. I don't know if it is because it's easier to say than machine learning, or they think people are stupid and don't understand what machine learning is. But yeah, I think that's why people are not going for this, at least at this moment in time. Especially again when any kind of new technology implemented, when we had the transition DDR4 in terms of memory, DDR4 to DDR5, because it's a new technology, it costs a little bit more. So basically, you're paying more for hardware, and this also, to a certain degree, will be done in, I think, at this moment in time, GPUs in mainly on APUs, which is something they can put everything in the same package and sell. For example, in laptops, it's easier for them to sell this kind of technology. But even the features in terms of software, let's say with Windows, they are very annoying. They are very intrusive. That's why people are not buying this. People just again, I think these companies think that people are really, really stupid. There are people that are less um, um, let's say they have more difficulties to integrate themselves with certain things, but that doesn't mean people are stupid. They just don't understand the logic at that point in time. But if you have somebody that can teach them some tricks here and there, I think people can get around with the new pieces of technology. I don't think people are inherently stupid. That It's like the cell phone stuff. When the cell phones start to appear, all the young people were the fastest to adapt it, because then the older people, it's a natural, it's part of humanity's history. Newer generations are more easily adaptable to new technology than older generations, and I think they're just trying to also try to sell like a one solution for all problems with the AI thingy there, even though it's not AI. Because if AI really exists, we, to a certain degree, we are screwed. But yeah, basically, it's my main overall thoughts of this. I'm sorry about the rant, but yeah, I think they lost the plot there with using AI, which is not. This is basically this kind of new kind of processor, which is the neural processor. I can understand the fact that they're using usually the NPU stuff, which is neural processing unit, which if they sold that something that is very specific for different kind of excellent technologies or a software running workloads, I think it could be sold better like an additive, like adding something extra than basically what all this AI bubble is, which is kind of replacing the old with the new. All of a sudden, people will not buy this. I think they should have started by saying that this will add something extra, because to a certain degree, all the products that we're seeing with AI, it's basically trying to even remove a little bit of your agency. For example, with cell phones or anything with this AI features on the photos and stuff like that. They just saying that you are too stupid to make photos, and you are basically dependent of doing anything if without a AI engine or what AI whatever they wanted to sell you, instead of selling what it is. So they are basically shooting themselves in the foot a little bit there on that field, because people don't like to be insinuated that they are like dumb enough to use something and they need help from an AI, which is people interpret it as like a robot. So I'm dumber than a fucking chip. It's a little bit the overall message that's being passing through, and subconsciously, I think that's why people just get a little bit triggered with this. And again, because these people of CEOs and marketing people live in their own bubble, they think they know better than anybody else. And to a certain degree, I think that's why we see some reticence on people accepting this kind of new technologies. Again, I think if they are added like an additive, so add something new or improve something that we already have, in a sense, not replacing, because there is something to see said about that. Let's say from upscalings, in terms of in the gaming industry, I think they are a good option to use this kind of things, even though I don't like to use it, because I think it's to a certain degree it's chipping out the experience there. But yeah, in some cases I think it can be used as its uses. For example, NPUs can be something that they can sell. Okay, if you have this NPU, I don't know, the AI routines or the NPC routines, or even in terms of what we've been seeing to a certain degree, the textures, compressing and decompressing technologies, they seem to be fine-tuned to a certain degree to these new NPUs, because they can process better that information to a certain degree. These kind of things, if they add it up a little bit here and there, and again, I think they need to check their marketing teams and their developer teams on what they need to call stuff there, because I think yeah, I think to a certain degree it's a blunder or what they're trying to implement there, because people are very reticent on replacing stuff for what they are already starting to be used to getting. And before people getting used to and being comfortable with that, you're already starting with the new stuff. Yeah, just because they need to make money to keep their quarters always in the green. Yeah, people just get fed up, and just, that's why I think to a certain degree we're seeing I think it's something that um, in my philosophy is the mofo, the mofo, the sorry, the FOMO, fear of missing out, the new trend there. That's why I usually tend to use, in terms of hardware, as long as it's serving me the purpose that I needed to for them to be used, I will keep it. I don't feel the need to upgrade, update, replace. In my case, for example, cell phones, as long as the cell phone is doing what I bought it for him to do, I will not buy a new phone just because it has a better camera, I have some AI enhanced capabilities there. Again, I don't need them for nothing for what I do. Again, it's a personal case. But yeah, people also, as they try to induce the FOMO on people, and yeah, they think that they make it seems that people are missing something. But I think that the end user, or the more how do I say it, the people that enthusiast level kind of persons that are more inside of what these technologies are and this hardware can do, they are not very keen on just jumping in just because the company says so. But yeah, this is my 2 cents, a very long 2 cents, but yeah, my overall thoughts on this is this. But in terms of hardware, we've been seeing a lot of stuff popping out from AMD regarding the new Zen 5 CPUs that are going to be launched in 13 days or so, give or take, by the end of this month. But yeah, we've got a little bit more details here and there. Interestingly enough, the process manufacturing is 4 nanometers instead of the 5 nanometers that we had on the 7000 series. The die size is not very different. It's even a little bit smaller, like 0.005%, but in terms of transistor density is supposedly around, to certain calculations, around 25% extra transistor density. That's why they seemingly are announcing that this can be a little bit better, like an uplift, because what they did between Zen 4 and Zen 5, it's not only reducing the process, the node stuff there being smaller, it's a little bit they did some tweaks on the architecture itself, and they managed to, I don't know, take better advantage of the fact that the philosophy of the CCDs stuff there, they managed to rearrange that to improve some performance there, and I will think we will see Zen 6 improve on this new tweak on the architecture itself, and I think that's why we're going to have a little extra jump, it seems. But again, as always, wait for reviews to see how this tweaks and how this transistor density can prove itself on the workloads that we usually use, being like productivity workloads or even games. We'll have to wait for detailed reviews, but yeah, it's interesting on around how this transistor density will be proven to be extra in terms of performance or not, because again, people, when you show percentages higher 25% higher transistor density doesn't mean 25% higher performance. Again, these things can be a little bit tricky to cover, to not put people in the seemingly thinking that they have like 20 or 25% higher performance just because it has more higher transistor density. And then we got again, because they are launching the new CPUs, they are this is from Prime Day, but I'm not sure how long is the Prime Day deal is. But AMD is pushing a little bit more day by day, week by week. I'm seeing they're pushing down as much as they can the 7000 series CPUs there, including X3Ds. For example, we got, I think this is the 7950 X3Ds, and the 7900 X3Ds are the ones that usually sell less, given that they are kind of trying to be the middle ground between certain CPUs on their lineup there. They lower a little bit there. The one that I have, 7700X, it's around almost half the price there. And also even the 7600X, it's now below $200. Again, this is launch price. I'm not sure. I think they should put also at least the MSRP, because I think they lower MSRP in some CPUs here. But yeah, again, comparing them with the launch price and the deals, again, it's a huge difference. But I think the reference price should be at least MSRP, which is the price that AMD sets as the ideal price for these CPUs to be sold. And also with the MSRP on the current CPUs, we might have kind of an idea where the new CPUs might fit regarding the launch prices there. But yeah, got the affiliate links here. I'm not sure if they are still valid. This is, I think, Amazon Prime deal was yesterday or something like that, but I'm not sure if it is more than a day. Again, I don't use very much Amazon. It's not something that I use a lot. So yeah. Again, usually the recommendations that I try to use, if you're even for gaming, I think a 7600, it's if you're using discrete GPUs to game and everything, if you're going to have a GPU, I think the 7600 it's a pretty good option here. Again, this can be aligned for I don't know, a low entry level gaming rig. Usually it tends to perform well. I don't know, even at 1080p. Again, you're not going to pair this with the 4090, of course, but I think even with the 7900 GRE XT, something like that, can be paired very well, even on playing games. Even though I'm using a 7700X, mainly because it was at the same price of the 7700 and the time that I bought. And I paid the same price as the 77. They were on the deal when I bought them. I think it's a pretty good one because it has 2 extra cores. It will help out on extra workloads when you have to use them. And I pretty much recommend this one because it's one that I'm using. Even though the 7600 non-X variant is good enough for you to do daily stuff, and if you want the extra the like top gaming tier performance, you got the 7800 X3D. I use the 7700X again because I play 4K 60 frames per second. That's my personal case. This serves very well a very competitive, very competent CPU. I never had any issues with CPU stuff there. Yeah, the temperatures usually it's hovers around 43, 44 degrees Celsius. I have everything on CPU cooler. I got silent mode basically activated. And yeah, just when I just need like extra CPU power processing, it never throttled on me before so far. So yeah, I cannot complain with the CPU. On gaming, I don't have any issues regarding CPU wise. The only issue that I might have from time to time is a little bit stuttering regarding the GPU workloads. Then I have to tweak some settings here and there. But other than that, I don't have any issues with this CPU. And if you catch it on a good deal, I think it's a pretty good one. 8 cores, it's like the middle ground there. And again, if you need to use high core numbers for your productivity work, I think the 7950X is the best one. And yeah, for gaming, the 7800X3D, which also handles okay-ish in terms of productivity work. So yeah, depending on your use case, you might get pretty excellent from again. And I still didn't discover a good CPU thing regarding the Intel chips. The similarly are failing all over the place. The 13 and 14 gen, I don't know what's happening there. I think it might be an error from the BIOS update that they last did. I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't know if everybody managed to screw up all the CPUs because the BIOS were not implemented in the best way. I don't know. I will when I catch a good article with that, I will let you know what's happening there. But I think yeah, especially on gaming stuff, it's not looking good. In terms of gaming, we got Baldur's Gate 3, Update 7. We got a little bit more details ahead of supposedly it's going to launch in September, so Larian is not ended up yet the support for this game in terms of performance and bug fixing and all that jazz, and introducing huge stuff. Even though it's been launched quite a while, they, for example, on the co-op stuff there, they are going to be doing dynamic split screen, like in the GIF here. So basically, instead of always having the split screen stuff there with different cameras, this will be dynamic. So when players are together, you only have like one screen basically. You don't have the mess that we have in split screening there. Got also supposedly honor mode, which is a difficulty setting. Supposedly it's more challenging. And as a quote here, this update will also see improvements to make some cinematics and game dialogues and origin character specific things like clippy issues, a couple of broken triggers for quest dialogues and romance, the odd case of retrograde, amnesia, and persistent exclamation marks. Okay, so they are still working on the game. And then supposedly Blades of Frontier will no longer absent-mindedly swing his sword mere inches from the aorta of shorter races who try to recruit them. Again, I don't know what this is. Again, I never played the game, so I don't know. It's a fix. And okay, supposedly it also bring the public release of modding tools ahead for this thing, the patch 7, which is good. And I think they are also working. This is not going to be the last one. They're still working on quality of life improvements, bug fixing, performance optimization. They are working also on crossplay photo mode. Okay, and I think they are also working on new endings, like dark endings and stuff like that. That will be brought up. If not from this update 7, they will be brought from future updates, which is all very good to see that they are not, even though they are not touching this universe from foreseeable time, they are still going to support the best they can until the end this game, which is always good. In terms of Witcher, got a little bit more tidbits here and there. Supposedly there was kind of a podcast stuff there they were talking about on the upcoming projects that we'll have on CD Projekt Red, especially the Witcher stuff. The only thing, again, as a reminder, the new trilogy of the Witcher games will not have Geralt of Rivia, which is one of the main things regarding the Witcher series. Is you stick with this character and see the world from his point of view to some degree, and it's one of the main draws of the series. We'll have to wait and see how this will go. If you're going to have like a POV character, like a defined character like Geralt, or if it's something more akin to RPG, you roleplay as you wish. But yeah, it's not going to have Geralt or even any. I think without even being him like an NPC or something like that, or a companion. Um, Again, Witcher 4 suppose is the closest to being launched. It's in an advanced stage, they say. But then we got the remake of The Witcher, which is I don't have a lot of faith since all the DI and ESG's the acronym stuff there. I don't feel pretty confident on the remake there because of all the updates they are going to make on the game. Got also supposedly a multiplayer spin-off. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. And then you got also the sequel for Cyberpunk, which I'm not sure how this is going to be. But yeah, I'm not very hopeful now for The Witcher, even though I recommend fully the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt with all the DLCs and the mod support that they have now. Again, I'm very worried about the future, mainly because of the insistence of the ESG commitments that they have now regarding DEI and the such. Again, when you try to reach an outcome without meritocracy, let's say, so the best person for the work, and you're trying to do a lot of checklists, usually the product it's less good, or the result is going to be worse than it should be. It is one of the things that is worrying me a lot here. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this will end up, and maybe they can course correct on their way there, even though I think it's going to be very hard given the cycle of a production of a game, usually around 4 to 5 years. So they are already injecting this as a tenant core philosophy. But yeah, we'll have to say to see how this goes. And talking about a little bit there on the DI stuff there, supposedly, again, I don't think this is completely confirmed. This is kind of email stuff obtained by Business Insider. I could not access the Business Insider article because again, these people just want to suck up money out of you, and I will not pay to read an article there. I will not commit to a subscription just to read an article. But basically, the gist of this is Microsoft lays off internal DEI team, says the version is no longer business critical. Again, might be a little bit clickbaity, the title, because the fact that diversity is no longer a business critical. I think it's from the person from the DEI team there, the head of that team. It was their own words, not an official word from the Microsoft, even though it gives hints that probably they reached the conclusion that this thing, trying to reach quotas and put check marks on stuff, is not the best way to approach it, at least business-wise. In terms of motive of profit of this kind of companies, is not going to end well for them. But yeah, supposedly is reportedly shutting down. Again, reportedly, it's not confirmed, it's not an official word from Microsoft, but we'll have to wait to see how this will end up. Shutting down a key internal, so this is not anything to do with kind of cutting any kind of relationship with a consultancy firm or something like that. So this is an internal DEI team, the latest big company to make cuts to previous pledges to diversity. Again, we'll have to wait to see if how this will end up here, because I think to a certain degree, these teams are trying to use their reaching to the marketing department and try to do some scare tactics there. Because some quotes here and there from the email itself, which is true systems change work associated with DI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. This is part of the email. Supposedly the entire team was laid off due to changing business needs. The email, which was sent by the team's now former leader, again, we have to take it with a grain of salt until we have like a proper explanation, because there are some stuff that not goes in line here with their commitment on DI stuff. Also goes on to accuse the company's executive leadership, again because they were laid off. It's always like this kind of story, especially from these people that like to play the victimhood stuff there and try to impose their ideologies. They basically accuse the executive leadership of investigated and evidence discrimination, harassment, and toxicity. So they are accusing that probably they found something and then the leadership to cover that tracks fire them. Again, it's something that can happen, but if you just go out shouting shit like this, especially when they don't have any, if you don't show proof to this kind of stuff there, I don't know what they're trying to achieve here. And again, unofficially, this is part of the email, in my opinion, not specific to Microsoft alone, but Project 2025, again, then they bring political stuff here. Looms and true systems change work associated with DI programs everywhere are no longer business critical smart as they were in 2020. Again, the fact that they say that the DI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, this person seems to correlate that they think they are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020, comes about this Project 2025, suppose this kind of 100-page kind of project, like drawing some like guidelines of how stuff in terms of political in United States should be done. And from what I understand, regarding this situation, I think Project 2025 tries to turn around this the systems of being more meritocracy, facing meritocracy than trying to target quotas for stuff. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not very politically savvy to comment on this Project 2025, but it seems to indicate that's the perception there from this point of view of this person, that this email is being thrown out. And then continuing with the email, hence the purposeful and strategic 3 to 5 year shelf life of many companies' inclusion commitment post the murder of George Floyd are being reevaluated. And the way I see it, the timing was impeccable, so business everywhere could reevaluate the path forward should their US federal contracts be at risk if war continues on its face. Again, this seems to be a very politically active person trying to I don't know what kind of things they're going about. Usually these people, when they are seen as disposable and not necessary for the business model of the company, they tie everything politically there. Again, people tend to forget corporations don't give a shit about political issues. They just want to make money. It's bottom dollar, nothing else. The way they reach there, they might serve some narratives, in this case the ESG, because it was beneficial for them to lower their interest rates on when they loan money for certain projects. It's useful for them, and that's the extent that they are willing to do this kind of shit of covering for this ESG. It's because they benefit them in terms of bottom dollar. It benefits the CEOs on their bonuses, because if they get a lot of projects with this kind of ESG compliant stuff there, they give themselves bonuses because they were inclusive on the narrative. And the problem is when you, in this case with this ESG stuff, sometimes you have to fill quotas, and you fill quotas with people that are more activists instead of working professionals, and then you tend, when they get put out of the business side of things, they tend to get always play the victim game. Again, if you were critical business to the business that you were working in, usually you don't get fired, because if you're a critical asset or important asset, you are the last thing to go. But yeah, and as you can see, a lot of companies, the first thing they are now getting rid of a lot is this DEI stuff here and there, trying to justify it in some way or another, but it's the first thing that they are getting rid of. Even though a spokesperson Jeff Jones already provided a statement saying their diversity and inclusion commitments remain unchanged. Again, I don't know if it is just trying to throw smoke. And the part of the quote is, our focus on diversity and inclusion is unwavering, and we are holding firm to our expectation, prioritizing accountability, and continuing to focus on this work. I don't know what this means. Again, this is a spokesperson. Sometimes if they are activists, they might continue to, I don't know, speak out of turn. Sometimes, I don't know. And the former lead does praise the work of the DEI teams at Microsoft, saying impossible mountains were moved, supposedly part of the email, during the reign. Though they also accused executives of, again, they accused the executive of alleged, investigated, and evidenced discrimination, harassment, and toxicity, directed towards the DEA staff. Again, let's see how this goes. Again, my first thoughts is we'll have to wait for proper announcements. Probably with some calls with investors, we might get some hints there, here and there. I'm not sure if they're going full throttle and saying we are done with DSG. I will assume that they have still some stuff they need to be having these kind of things, because again, the loans don't pay themselves from one month to the other. I'm not sure if it is dependent on the fact they are still paying the loans with a certain amount of interest rates, if they need to stick with, have a minimum of objectives in terms of DEI kind of directives there associated with it while they pay the loan. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this goes. But I think the bottom line, if they think they're getting screwed off, and if they feel the need to cut off workforce, I think the DEI stuff or the DEI hires is going to be the first thing to go, because at the bottom they are not doing the work that's supposed to be doing. A lot of activism going around there, and they just screws up the bottom line of the company itself. But yeah, this is my first 2 cents regarding this situation specific. We'll see how this goes. And we're going to wrap up here with some game deals. We got Planet of Lana 40% off. We got Cocoon 40% off also. We got Vampyr, very interesting game. Got mostly positive reviews, around 70-ish% here. It seems a very interesting game, and for this price seems to me a very good option to. Again, it's a vampire game, and I think they try to get around as a good turn on the vampire thingy there. We got also Red Dead Redemption 2 is 67% off, or the Ultimate Edition is 65% off. A huge difference there, but yeah. We got also No Man's Sky. Again, now it's 60% off. Usually the last times that I saw this was around 50%. Now it's 60%, and again, got a huge update. This game has been usually improved a lot since the updates have come out throughout the years. But yeah, I think this is now good, in a good state to be played, and the updates that have been launching are all free, so you always get that. We got also Atomic Heart 60% off on basically all the editions here. I think the premium edition is the one that has all the DLC there. I'm not sure if all the DLCs are launched. I think they are still missing 1 or 2. But yeah, it seems a very interesting game, very Soviet Bioshock kind of a feel there. But yeah, basically this is it for today, guys. I'm just going to wrap up with a plug on my Patreon for access support. The access support this moment in time is more for me to be going about and arrange a storage solution to get backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.